There comes a quiet moment in life when you realize that not every battle is meant to be fought out loud, that sometimes the most powerful move is silence, and that dignity, when protected carefully, can outmaneuver even the most cunning opponent. If you have lived long enough, you have seen them, the subtle manipulators, the hidden competitors, the ones who smile politely while quietly working against you. The ones who twist words, shift blame, and play emotional games. The ones who drain your energy, question your worth, and test your patience. They appear in families, in workplaces, in friendships, and even in moments when you least expect them. When we are young, we react, we defend, we explain, we argue, we try to prove ourselves. But with age comes a deeper awareness, a realization that not everyone deserves your explanations, not every accusation deserves your defense, not every provocation deserves your response. This understanding does not come from books or theories. It comes from disappointment, from heartbreak, from betrayal, from being misunderstood, from standing alone when you expected support, from learning, slowly and sometimes painfully, that peace is more valuable than being right. There is a certain kind of person who thrives on chaos. They feel powerful when others feel confused. They feel important when others feel insecure. They feel victorious when others feel diminished. They operate quietly, often hiding behind charm or concern. But beneath the surface, their intentions are rarely clean. Trying to expose them rarely brings satisfaction. Confronting them directly often fuels their game. Engaging emotionally gives them exactly what they want. So the question becomes not how to defeat them, but how to rise above them. And the answer lies in emotional intelligence, inner calm, and quiet strategy. The most powerful people in the room are rarely the loudest. They are the ones who observe more than they speak. They listen more than they argue. They understand more than they reveal. They move with intention, not impulse. Silence, when used wisely, becomes a shield. It prevents others from learning your fears. It protects your plans. It keeps your energy intact, and it allows you to see people clearly without the distortion of emotion. When you stop reacting, something remarkable happens. The manipulator loses control. Their tactics fail. Their pressure weakens. Their influence shrinks. They depend on emotional response. They need your anger, your confusion, your need to explain, your desire to defend. When those disappear, so does their power. This is not about becoming cold or distant. It is about becoming centered, calm, unshakable. As you grow older, you begin to understand that dignity is not loud, strength is not aggressive, confidence does not need to announce itself. You learn to pause before responding. You learn to breathe before speaking. You choose your battles carefully. And most importantly, you learn that some battles are won by not fighting at all. Dirty players rely on predictability. They study reactions. They memorize patterns. They wait for emotional openings. When you remain calm and steady, you become unpredictable, and unpredictability unsettles them. They cannot manipulate what they cannot read. There is deep psychological power in restraint. It creates uncertainty. It creates imbalance. It forces the other person to question themselves. They begin to overthink. They begin to doubt. They begin to reveal their own intentions. While you remain composed, they unravel. This quiet control does not require cruelty. It requires awareness. You begin by noticing patterns. Who interrupts you? Who dismisses your concerns? Who subtly undermines your confidence? Who thrives on drama? Who enjoys creating tension? Once you see clearly, you stop feeding those patterns. You answer briefly. You share less. You react slower. You protect your emotional space. You do not give explanations to those who misuse them. You do not give trust to those who exploit it. You do not give access to those who abuse it. This creates boundaries, Not loud boundaries, not defensive boundaries, but quiet, firm, immovable ones. And boundaries, when maintained calmly, reshape relationships. Some people adjust, they respect your strength. Others become frustrated, they push harder, they provoke more, they test your limits.
This is the moment where your inner discipline matters most. You stay grounded, you stay kind, you stay composed. Because nothing unsettles a manipulator more than calm certainty. They expect emotional chaos, they expect reaction, they expect engagement. They do not expect peace. With age comes the privilege of discernment. You no longer need everyone to understand you. You no longer need to be liked by everyone. You no longer need to explain your choices. You become selective with your energy. You protect your peace like a precious resource. And in doing so, you begin to outgrow small games. There is a profound freedom in realizing that you do not have to participate in emotional traps, that you can step back, that you can observe, that you can choose silence. Silence is not weakness. Silence is power under control. It allows you to see truth more clearly. It gives you time to process. It gives you space to think strategically. When someone attempts to provoke you, pause. Let the silence stretch. Let their discomfort surface. Let their intention reveal itself. In that moment, you gain information, and information is strength. Often, the less you say, the more others expose. They begin to fill the silence. They justify, they explain, they defend, they contradict themselves. And quietly, you learn everything you need to know. This approach transforms conflict into clarity. You no longer feel the need to prove. You no longer feel the urge to react. You no longer feel compelled to engage in emotional wrestling. Instead, you move with calm intention. You begin to speak only when your words add value, when they bring clarity, when they protect your dignity, when they serve your peace. Everything else you release. There is a quiet confidence that comes with this shift, a deep inner steadiness, a sense of emotional independence. You no longer depend on others for validation. You no longer allow their opinions to define you. You no longer measure your worth by their reactions. You measure your success by your peace. This is not emotional detachment, it is emotional maturity. It is the understanding that not all connections deserve closeness, that some relationships require distance to remain healthy, that some people must be loved from afar, and that protecting your inner world is not selfish, it is necessary. As you practice this quiet strength, something changes inside you. You begin to trust yourself more. You feel less anxious, less reactive, less drained. Your mind becomes clearer, your decisions become calmer, your relationships become simpler, and gradually your presence shifts. People begin to sense your stability, your boundaries, your composure. Some will respect it, some will fear it, some will resent it, but all will feel it. Because true power does not demand attention, it commands respect through consistency. There is a deep satisfaction in knowing that you no longer need to prove anything, that your calm speaks for you, that your silence protects you, that your dignity defines you. You realize that peace is the ultimate victory, and that no manipulative tactic can penetrate a mind that is centered. This does not mean you tolerate disrespect. It means you address it with calm clarity. You do not argue. You state. You do not explain. You decide. A simple boundary delivered calmly is more powerful than 1,000 emotional explanations. And once spoken, you uphold it without drama. You let your actions speak. Because consistency builds authority, and authority, rooted in calm, cannot be shaken. As the years pass, you begin to value serenity more than validation, understanding more than argument, presence more than performance. You learn to choose peace over pride, and in doing so, you become emotionally untouchable. The manipulator seeks control, but you no longer offer access. The critic seeks reaction, but you offer calm. The instigator seeks chaos, but you offer silence. And in that silence, their influence dissolves. You become a mirror, reflecting nothing back, offering no emotional leverage. And this forces them to confront themselves, not through confrontation, but through absence. There is great wisdom in knowing when to speak, and even greater wisdom in knowing when not to. Your voice gains strength when it is used intentionally. Your silence gains power when it is used strategically. Together, they form an emotional armor that protects your peace. You become less reactive and more reflective, less impulsive and more deliberate. This is the emotional maturity that comes from experience, from years of trial and error, from moments of regret, from lessons learned the hard way. And with it comes a profound sense of freedom. You are no longer controlled by others' moods. You are no longer pulled into unnecessary conflict. You are no longer dreamed by emotional gains. You stand steady in your own presence, and that steadiness becomes your greatest strength. At this stage of life, you understand the value of simplicity, of clarity, of peace. You no longer chase approval. You no longer chase arguments. You no longer chase explanations. You choose dignity.
And dignity has a quiet authority that cannot be replicated. When you walk away from emotional traps, you do not lose, you transcend. You conserve your energy for what truly matters, for meaningful connections, for inner peace, for personal growth. And in doing so, you create a life that feels lighter, calmer, more intentional. This is the quiet triumph of emotional intelligence. It is the ability to see beyond surface behavior, to understand hidden motivations, to respond with wisdom rather than impulse. It is the art of outsmarting without confrontation, of winning without battle, of standing tall without noise. As you embody this, you begin to notice a subtle shift in how others treat you. They become more cautious, more respectful, more mindful. Because calm strength commands attention, not through fear, but through presence. And presence, when grounded, becomes influence. You influence by example, by steadiness, by integrity, not by argument, not by persuasion, not by force. This is the kind of power that lasts. It is not flashy, it is not loud, it is not dramatic. It is deep, quiet, enduring. It lives within you, and once you access it, nothing outside can disturb it. You realize that true success is not measured by victory over others, but by mastery over self. And that mastery brings peace. A peace that does not depend on circumstances or opinions or outcomes. A peace that comes from alignment, from knowing who you are, from trusting your values, from honoring your boundaries. This is the peace that no manipulator can steal. Because it is not given, it is cultivated, slowly, gently, through awareness, through patience, through self-respect. And in this cultivation, you find strength. Not the strength to dominate, but the strength to remain centered. Not the strength to argue, but the strength to remain calm. Not the strength to react, but the strength to choose wisely. This is the quiet wisdom of age. the understanding that life becomes simpler when you stop trying to control everything and start focusing on controlling yourself. And in that control, you gain freedom. Freedom from toxic cycles, freedom from unnecessary conflict. You step into a life of clarity, where your energy is preserved, your dignity is protected, and your peace is prioritized. This is not withdrawal from life, it is engagement with intention. You still love deeply, you still care sincerely, you still connect meaningfully, but you do so with discernment. You give where it is appreciated, you invest where it is reciprocated, you remain where it is healthy, and you step back where it is not. This discernment is not coldness, it is self-respect. And self-respect becomes your foundation. From this foundation, you build a life of calm confidence, where manipulative games no longer reach you, where emotional chaos no longer disturbs you, where silence becomes your shield and peace becomes your home. And in this quiet strength, you discover something profound, that you no longer need to outsmart anyone, because you have outgrown the game. You have moved beyond reaction into reflection, beyond conflict into clarity, beyond struggle into serenity. And that is the true victory. A victory that cannot be taken, a victory that deepens with time, a victory that rests gently within your soul. Here, in this calm understanding, you stand, not above others, not against others, but within yourself, whole, grounded, at peace. And in that peace, you find the strength that truly matters.